solutions and being asset minded, and the strengths and the things you have already in place that would make this possible. So our assignments for today, we have this presentation assignment. I'm just going to click this here and it'll open up here. So this is basically the link to our slide deck here. We have assignment number 1, which will be done through your team, and each of these are hyperlinked, which is one nice thing about having this piece. We're going to have our norms for day 5, just like we've done previously before. Have one person on your team actually submit this. It's not published, Melissa, so I'm going to publish it, if that's okay. So
I will go in and make sure things are published.
So, and then we have assignment number 2, which is an everyone assignment. You're going to make a copy of this and be able to complete these pieces here. And then our vision from day 4. This is something you would have done with your team already. This was something to be submitted last time we met on April 14th. So if you haven't yet completed this, make sure you do with your team. And then the action plan from day 4, which was also another one that we did last time. So you probably already submitted all of these, which is awesome. And then finally, assignment for number 4, which is your timeline plan, which was also one of those that I believe was.
That will work on this afternoon with Nate.
That will work on this afternoon. Thank you, Melissa.
So assignment 2 is this morning. And right after lunch, then it'll move to assignment 4 with Nate. So you'll want assignment 2 and assignment 4 downloaded, everybody.
Awesome. Okay, and then as far as accessing the Canvas course, we're going to just spend just a couple of minutes for you as a team. This is a good little warm up to go into those breakout rooms with your team and talk through what norms do you want to focus on today. And then upload assignment number 1 here, which is the norms that you're going to be focused on. So you're going to have someone just respond to this here. This is just a team assignment. So we're going to take about 5 minutes, and we're going to go into breakout rooms. I'm going to
Hey, Katie, will you flip to this slide that shows which breakout room I didn't get? Well, I got everything set up, then my computer crashed, so I lost all those settings. So
no problem. So just kind of take note of which room you're going into. And sometimes I see this and I'm like, okay, I just make the number with my hand and then I can remember here. But this will be your number to remember for the day. It is, I believe, the same numbers that you've had in previous meetings. So if you're not remembering, take note. Give me a little thumbs up if your camera's on, or a thumbs up emote icon if you know which room you're going to. All right. Cleef, that thumb is enormous. Look at that. Okay, awesome. Okay, very good. Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing for just a moment. And Melissa, do you have the breakout rooms already set up, or?
yes, I do. So how long do you want them in there to get their team norm and just get into all the
5
documents?
minutes is what the assignment said there. So we'll have 5 minutes. And this is really just to kind of get together, transition into the activity, talk through what your norm is, and we'll see you back here in about 5 minutes. So. And Melissa has opened up those rooms. Thank you. If you need me to project the slide, I can do that again too, here, just in case somebody is not remembering. All right.
If anyone needs help moving, please just put what you would like in the chat or come off mute and I'll be happy to move you.
All right, welcome back. Good to see everybody again. I hope that for the second part of the second bullet here that you noted some insights that were shared that could apply to what you're working on with your team. Before we go on to the next section, just take a minute and I'd love to hear any insights, things that you said, things that you heard said that that you feel like helps you kind of think through your strategy that you're going to be using for your STEM plans in your LEA. So you can raise your hand or just unmute. All right, Nathan, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. I found it interesting that basically all three of our people who are working together kind of are trying to put together either a school-wide or district-wide plan to just, because there's lots of people doing STEM stuff, but making it more of an official, we're doing STEM stuff.
Mm-hmm. Love that, just really calling it out as part of your overall vision for school. I was talking to Melissa the other day and I was like, okay, so we've got STEAM and then what was the other one, Melissa? There's STEAM and then there's like stream and then we're like, wait, so what is school if it's not all of these things? So calling it out really specifically and just narrowing that focus to here's the theme of all that we do is to help develop our students in these specific science and math and engineering ideas with technology. So thank you for sharing that piece. All right, who will be as brave?
Katie, I guess I'm the obvious choice since my name is so similar to Nathan's. So I can go next.
All right, Nathan, you have lost the game of Zoom chicken. Good job.
I was really interested to hear about the experiences of the three LEAs that were present in our breakout room and how in conversations about careers, there was this focus on, 21st century skills, 4 C's, deep learning, whatever you refer to it as, the portrait of a graduate competencies, as this kind of integral aspect of setting students up for to be successful in career and frankly, everything that they do. And that having an ecosystem of rote instruction for students actually decreases their kind of openness, at least some of the students, to conversations and instructional mechanisms that propagate those skills. Students want, once they know what school looks like and they know how to be successful, they don't want to swerve from that. They want to continue to do that. So in math class, they want the problem sets because they know how to be successful in it. Again, we're talking about a population of students, not the entire population, but there are those students that get stuck and end up in a deficit mindset because they know how to be successful in that, and they don't want to risk being successful by having to try these more critical thinking, open-ended, low threshold, high ceiling problems.
Oh, thank you. And that's really to honor and not lose momentum from what you're doing with students. As they come to be people who can advocate for themselves and know the best ways that they individually learn, honoring that progress and making sure that we're not undoing any of those efforts as we go forward and maybe shift initiatives and making sure that focus remains. Thank you, Nate. All right, I need one more person to share profound thoughts that they that they heard or had during that networking time. We all benefit when you share.
Cleve made a comment that he wonders if that isn't true of humanity in general, that maybe a bit of constant change is a good solution. So I think that's something to really look at, why this idea of a STEM culture is important, because it does keep us constantly problem solving and thinking. So thanks for that comment, Cleve.
Well, I think if we have a strong foundation of what and why we're doing the things we are, we're able to be a little more nimble with what happens without losing anything, without losing that momentum that we're going toward, and we're able to make those connections. But that can really only happen if we've got a good foundational understanding of why we're doing what we're doing. So appreciate you all sharing this, and we're gonna go on to our next section, and I am going thank you, exactly. I'm gonna go on here to our friend Nathan Ock, who's gonna share kind of, and Nate, I'll just go ahead and keep sharing my screen unless you want to switch. You just tell me when to change slides. Okay?
No, that's great. I don't have that many slides, Katie, but just to make sure, you said Nathan Auk, not Nathan Stock, right? I want to make sure that I'm not taking Nathan's moment.
That is crazy. Okay, that's awesome. Okay.
Okay, no, just joking. Yeah, so I'm excited to kind of to have some conversations this morning to set us up for our final process of revision for our action plans for this school year, before you'll have the opportunity to put those action plans into process over the summer and into the 2022-2023 school year. And so up to this point, we've, across the kind of designers of this professional learning experience, have tried to provide a kind of wide assortment of kind of promising practices connected to STEM ecosystems. And so the goal of this entire experience is not to say this is what like you should be doing, but it's to show you what has been successful in other circumstances and what we know based on research and evidence is effective. And then for you to take that within your local context and to be able to create systems that are not only effective, but also nimble and what I always use this word coherent. And what I mean when I say coherent STEM systems is that it's a system that's not like an island by itself that is only sustained based on a few people wanting to like keep it afloat. But we make connections across our entire educational ecosystem such that we start building advocates. We talked about this last time in the stakeholder section. We start building advocates of people that aren't even explicitly involved in a lot of the aspects of our action plan. And so in order to do that, we have to start to weave it into the resources that are available. So we're going to talk about a couple of resources at the state level that are available to you this morning, in hopes that when you kind of do that final revision for your action plan this afternoon, that there'll be opportunities to see these resources leveraged in hopefully ways that are worthwhile and productive for your communities. So we're going to talk about Utah's STEM vision that was established last fall by a group of stakeholders from the STEM Action Center, from USBE, and then eventually with regards to feedback from higher education institutions as well as public ed. And it connects to the STEM of the fourth paper that we had talked about earlier in this experience as well. So before we get into that activity, I want to talk a little bit about why frameworks, or maybe like the potential that frameworks have to be valuable resources in this type of vision and action planning work. And there's a few things that kind of show up for me when I think about this. So the first is what we're just engaging in is networking. When folks have this shared frameworks, at least that they can connect with, there's this opportunity for a shared discussion about the ways that they're leveraging different aspects of that framework within their communities. And so kind of it creates a hub for communication and shared conversation. So it also creates some shared language. Like oftentimes we call the same thing different things across communities. And when we can have some shared language, it not only brings us closer, but it also makes communication more clear within those communities. And then finally, it gives folks that are just starting this work a place to kind of a launch pad, so to speak, to figure out what this looks like within their local communities. By sharing this vision, it isn't our intent that everyone's STEM vision automatically goes to what the state of Utah has kind of landed on, but to be an inspiration for whatever your local visions are. It's not supposed to be an endpoint, it's more of a starting point. Or in this context, because you already have your vision and 4 days worth of kind of revisions on your vision, it's a lens through which you can hopefully make your STEM vision more robust. So that lens is something that I would like everyone to have within their kind of consciousness this morning. Katie, if you go to the next slide. And I will drop the link to this STEM vision in the chat, if everyone would be so kind as to click on that link, and then you'll see the STEM vision on our webpage. You can click on it. There's 2 pages to the document. There's a front and a back, although I'm not sure that anyone has printed this document yet. So I'm not sure why the second page would be the back in a digital document, but we still talk about things in physical terms. So that's the way I'll talk about it now. What I want everyone to do is just look at that first page. We're going to get to the second page in a second. But what I would like everyone to do is read through that first page with the lens of connections to your current STEM vision. And when you make a connection based on something that you read or some other thought that you have, please throw that into the chat. So we're going to have 5 minutes of independent study, making connections, and our connections are going to be thrown into the chat. Everyone understand the task? Okay, about 5 minutes. I'm keeping time, so if it's less than 5 minutes, you won't even know. So remember that STEM communities don't just refer to STEM communities solely. They're like mathematics communities are part of STEM communities. Science communities are part of STEM communities. CTE communities are part of STEM communities. So maybe the connections that you're making might be to your mathematics background or your science background, engineering. Did we get one of the groups wrong? Oh, we have ISTE in there. ISTE wasn't a part of this, were they? We don't have ASSM listed, do we? We'll make that switch, Joey. Yeah, thanks, Amy and Allison, for those thoughts connected to integrated work and how to move it forward. Yeah, indeed, Andrew. Thanks for mentioning the science and engineering practices. There's a lot of overlap between those SEPs and the math SMPs. Awesome. So feel free, as you finish up this first page, to continue to kind of make connections to what your current STEM vision is. And so now I would love for everyone, if you haven't already done so, move on to that second page. And what the second page kind of focuses on, rather than the kind of the center of what the STEM vision looks like, is like, how do we start to carry it out? How do we ensure every student is involved? What resources exist across the state of Utah in order to do this work? And so, similarly to what we did in the first page, I would love for you to throw ideas into the chat that connect with your action plan. So the first page was connecting with your vision, and now we're trying to carry things out. What aspects of equity have you incorporated into your action plan? What resources that the STEM Action Center has available do you plan to leverage within your work going forward? What USBE resources exist in which you're going to be leveraging in your action plan as you carry this out? So take another 5 minutes and see if you can make some connections between your action plan and what exists on this second page. Thanks for sharing that, Cleve. It's a great call out with regards to access and equity. It's this idea of differentiation, what we refer to in our personalized competency-based learning framework as customized supports, that not only do students need different instructional experiences based on different background knowledges and like prior educational experiences, but it's also really powerful to ensure that they have different ways to demonstrate their knowledge, so that assessments don't always look exactly the same. And maybe there's even some student agency with regards to the ways that they can demonstrate the knowledge that they have. That's a great point and a great connection. Thanks for sharing. Yeah, and Andrew, I appreciate you bringing up the STEM Action Center STEM designated schools program, and how we can use that rubric to kind of identify like some goals through that process. Like, these are the directions that we want to go based on the work that they've done to establish that program over the last decade or so. A great connection. Okay, maybe one more thought. Someone can jump off mute, or they can throw it in the chat, whatever you would prefer. Any other connections to action plans going forward? Yeah, Amy, totally true. So we have this opportunity, both in integrated experiences as well as individual subject matter, to ensure that students understand the application of the knowledge that they're learning. And again, that's not only academic knowledge or mastering academic content, but it's also the skills that we were talking about in day 4 that are necessary for kind of success within the career space. Okay, so we're going to shift a little bit. That's a big question, Cleve. I would say that there is probably aspects to both of those things, that we have access to shifting kind of statute through the Board of Education, and the legislature often also acts on its own without consulting the Board of Education and or its staff members. So there's probably aspects of both, and we would be happy to talk more specifically about that at lunch or break or whatever might be a good time. So I want to shift the conversation a little bit now to one other program that I just wanted to make sure that everyone was aware of. I'm not going to spend a ton of time on this, but I'll throw the kind of FAQ into the chat, and you can reach out from there if you don't already have this in your radar. So the STEM Endorsement Incentive Program provides $1.2 million in ongoing funds to set teachers up to be endorsed in mathematics, science, engineering, and technology areas. And so everyone in the state that attends or that teaches at has a current teaching position in either a public charter or a school district has the opportunity to participate in this program. And so, as I mentioned, it's $1.2 million a year. We've reimbursed teachers across the state in STEM endorsement coursework to the tune of over $1.5 million. I think that number will be closer to $2.5 million by next fall. We've reimbursed now probably 1,500 courses, and we're getting close to 1,000 teachers that have participated in the program. And so this is significant. It's in most cases, it covers 100% of the costs that teachers incur in taking coursework. And upon completion of that endorsement, there's now an incentive that teachers will earn once they get to that endorsement. I can't tell you how much that incentive is yet. We have to do the math this summer. This summer will be the first time that we've done that. But this program is available for every public school teacher in the state, whether they have an endorsement in STEM currently or not. So I'm going to skip the next few slides, Katie. There's some more information in here about what statute it came from and data, but let's go, and then we'll go one more. Okay, so what we want to do now, it's okay, there's no slide for our final activity. I would love for everyone to have, it's looking like about 10 minutes to jump into breakout rooms with your group and talk about ways that based on the resources that we just looked at, that being Utah STEM Vision, USB, and STEM Action Center kind of work, as well as the STEM EIP program or the STEM EI program. What ways do you want to incorporate this into your action plan? You're going to have more time for these conversations later on. Right now is basically a time to take some notes, capture some ahas that you had while having these discussions or having these internal discussions, and then make them kind of external with your group. So let's take, maybe 12 minutes, and we will move on to the next section. Once we have all of those things written down, typed down, whatever way that your group chooses to capture insight. Questions, comments, concerns on the task?
Okay, Nate, so I'll open all the rooms that you should be able to access your breakout room. And you said 12 minutes, correct?
Yep, so 10:15 would be great.
Perfect. Okay, rooms are open.
Is there any sort of action items we need to hand in with this, or this is just internal?
No, it'll be, so the action item, please, will be this afternoon. It is
Nathan,
your
you're
final
muted, I
update
think.
to your action plan and vision.
I'm muted. He's muted. Okay.
All right. So my friends, we're going to do a protocol with the idea that we want to share our STEM vision, our action plan, and get objective feedback from a peer. So from a group of peers, and when they listen to what we have to say, what are their objective thoughts that will help us kind of refine both our vision and our action plan before we get to the implementation phase that will happen this afternoon. We'll talk about that timeline. So this is a really critical thing. While you've had a lot of time to refine it yourself, sometimes we get within ourselves and we might not see some of the bigger picture. So this is an important step to get some objective feedback. So in order to do that, we're going to follow a protocol that I used, oh wow, maybe for the first time 15 years ago with Christelle Estrada. And it's a great way to get objective feedback and to really dig into what do we want to focus on our feedback on. So you should have access to the tuning protocol. I'm going to take just a minute to show you. That should look like this. Now we're going to kind of revise it a little bit, but this has the basic idea of what we're going to do and why we're going to do what we're going to do. So I would like you to let's take 4 minutes and read through this, and you're going to highlight what seems important. So what should we remember? What's this tuning protocol all about? How is it going to run? And then it'll be a chance for you to ask questions. And then I'm going to actually model it for you with one of your teams, so one of your peers. So this is individual think time. Read through the tuning protocol so you get an idea and a feel for what it's about and how it runs. Highlight what's important. We'll come back with those ideas, and then I'll say this is how we're going to tweak it for our purposes today, because we need to tweak it to fit our purpose. All right, so it is 10:21. So at 10:25, be ready to share your highlights. I'll ask you to put them in the chat. Okay, 4 minutes is yours to figure out what we're going to be doing in this tuning protocol. Okay, about 30 seconds to kind of finish up. Have something in mind that you can share. Okay, friends, when I say go, will you please type one thing in the chat that you found either important to remember about a tuning protocol or something insightful to you about this tuning protocol? Okay, you'll have 30 seconds to type it in and hit enter. So choose what you would like to share. Ready? Type in, go. Oh, these are wonderful things. You found really some great highlights about this idea of warm and cool feedback, collaborative feedback, clarifying questions. We're just asking matters of fact. Presenters listen without providing comment. It's about getting feedback, not defending yourself. Following this rigid structure keeps the conversation focused. Really important thing to notice. Defer judgment. So really, this is an objective way for you to get feedback as a team. So great things to think about. I want to show you just quickly how we are going to kind of, some things we're going to focus on in this tuning protocol and how we're going to tweak it just slightly to meet our purpose today. So you'll want to pay close attention because you're going to be doing this in not very long. I love this idea that John says it seems to remove emotion. That's exactly what it does. We're just looking objectively. These are the things we're noticing. So thank you for that comment. Okay, so in the tuning protocol, it is about receiving feedback and fine tuning whatever it is that we want to have people look at, and really to reflect upon what we learn from that. This introduction process I'm doing right now, so I'm explaining the protocol to you and kind of the guidelines, the structure and the schedule. So when you get into rooms, what you're going to do is, the first thing that will happen is whoever is presenting, so the team that's presenting, they're going to have an opportunity to share. This is our context so that you know a little bit about who we are, because that's the lens that we want you to look at what we're doing through. This is our vision for this context or this lens. This is our action plan. As teams, you'll need something to share, something that the other team can look at. So you might want to be thinking, who has the document that we can share with them? So you, as a presenter, you'll have some time to share, and then you'll provide whoever's your audience or the participants artifacts that they can then look at. After you've done your presentation, the audience or the participants will have 2 minutes to ask you clarifying questions. That's like, so this is where I access your STEM action plan, or this is where I access your vision. Tell me again your context, just clarifying questions, just to get settled so that you can dig in and really look. The next piece is then, as the audience, you will examine what they presented, go dig into their work, but you're going to do it based off of thinking about some framing questions. And as a STEM team, we set up those framing questions. So I'll share those with you in just 1 minute. During this time that you're looking at their artifacts, you're also going to be writing warm and cool feedback. So warm and cool feedback looks like, it seems important that you included this in your action plan because it meets our framing question. Or I want to make sure you keep this because this really addresses this piece of the framing question. Cool feedback would look like, I wonder if you've considered adding this type of a piece because there seems to be a gap here in your action plan. So it's not, oh, that's fabulous, not helpful. But this piece really meets the framing question. So this is a great thing you're going to want to keep. Or there seems to be this gap. I'm wondering if you did something like this, if this would meet the gap. Not, geez, your action plan sucks. We want to reframe from that. So we want our feedback to be warm and cool. So while you're digging into the artifacts, you're writing the warm and cool feedback. After that, the facilitator will come back and say, okay, let's hear the warm feedback. You need to take turns as an audience sharing that warm feedback. If you don't participate, this protocol doesn't work. So you need to be engaged and have some warm feedback to share. Then the facilitator will say, what cool feedback do you have? So as an audience, if you don't share, again, not really, you're not going to get much out of the tuning protocol either way. So if you're not engaged, this won't work. This is where you need to be very engaged. After the warm and cool feedback has been shared, where the presenting team only listens, it's not, well, but, it's not about you. This is objective feedback. You just listen. At the end, you have a chance for 2 or 3 minutes to say, that's interesting. We hadn't considered this, or I'm liking this idea, or we need to make this more clear. It's not a defense. You didn't give birth. It's going to be okay. We're just trying to make this as best as we can. So just think, what insightful about this can I add? What do we want to maybe think about adjusting? So that's kind of how it will roll. Now let me show you in assignment 2, because this is where you will be. So as soon as I'm done here explaining the protocol, you're going to go, Rachel's going to come on and set up this chance. You're going to have a chance as a team to decide how you're going to share, because you'll have 8 minutes to share your context, your vision, your action plan. So she'll help you set that up. So that will be done first. Then we'll come back with me, and one of your teams has graciously said that they will be kind of the model, and I'll run the tuning protocol with them where all of you will be the audience. This is how it will run. They'll have 8 minutes to present. You can ask clarifying questions of them. You're going to have 8 minutes to look at their work, whatever they provide for you. And then I'll moderate 5 minutes of warm, cool feedback. At the end, they'll come back with a 2-minute reflection. Oh, this was insightful. We need to clarify this. We might need to add this piece. So right here under 2B is where you'll write down your warm and cool feedback so that you can be engaged and share. Then you're going to go into breakout rooms with one other team and do this back and forth. You'll have a moderator for your room. And you can see in 2C, there's a spot where you're the audience, and there's a spot for where you're the presenting group. Okay, the big thing that we have left to talk about is this is all framed around guiding questions, or what are our goals? What feedback do we want to get? So the framing questions that we will use are, what components in our STEM vision and action plan do or do not convey a clear message about our vision of STEM for our context? So what do we have in our vision and in our action plan that conveys a clear message of what our vision really is? And then what components of our vision and action plan do or do not actively engage or involve our stakeholders? Because if we haven't involved and included them, it's hard to move and make systems of change. So where can they see themselves actively involved in this vision and action plan? Those are the 2 guiding questions that people will be providing feedback on. So when you're the presenting team, you'll get feedback on these 2 questions. when you are the audience, you're going to be thinking about it in this light. Okay, my friends, what questions do you have about how the tuning protocol will run? Well, if you do have questions, you'll have a chance to ask them. Okay, I'm going to turn the time over to Rach now, who is going to set you up for your plan for sharing when you're the presenter.
Awesome. Okay, thank you. So we just want to take a minute to have you think about how you're going to plan to share with your team. So principals or administrators, you're the ones who are going to lead this discussion to make sure that that you have all the voices engaged from your team to decide how you're going to quickly share. So, meaningful sharing in a brief time, and who on the team is going to share. And then you're going to be looking at how will we quickly share our content, our STEM vision, and our action plan, and who's going to do that. So you'll really fine tune it, not necessarily elevator speech length, but thinking about it in that frame of how can this be packed with a punch in a short time to deliver our message, and who on our team is going to do that. So you have 20 minutes, and administrators, you'll again make sure you have everyone engaged in this conversation, and then you'll capture on this doc how you're going to, and then who's going to share it.
Great, and remember, you want to share your context so that they know what lens should we be looking at this through. What type of is this a school, a district, a charter, a public, an elementary, a middle school? This is our population, just so they get some idea. And you only have 8 minutes to share. So like Rachel said, quickly. So Rach, what time should we be back at?
So we have 20 minutes for this. So 10:56.
Okay, let me get the breakout rooms. All right, I will open all the breakout rooms. And Rachel and I are available if you have any questions.
Hey, Melissa,
Uh-huh.
I have a question for you, but I was wondering how I could ask it more privately.
Actually, you and I could go to, I think there's a room that, let's go join Lakeview, because no one's there for Lakeview today. They had an issue. So
Okay, sounds good.
can you go to Lakeview?
Yes.
Okay, I'll meet you there.
Okay.
Looks like we.
Okay, are we all back? Nope, just a few people are coming back. My friends, we have not taken a break this morning. I would like to take an 8-minute break. Could we come back at 11:05 to give you a chance just to get up and move around, get any final things ready? So let's take a break till 11:05. I'll see you at 11:05. All right, be back right on spot because we're going to start. So 11:05, break till 11:05. Hey, Brett, did you see my chat?
Sorry, yes, I just saw it. I'll respond back to you there if you'd like.
Melissa, are we supposed to be in a breakout room working with somebody? Or are we still working with our team?
We're on break till 11:05.
Okay, we missed that. Sorry. So I was just like, I'm not sure if we're supposed to be going through this.
Oh, sorry. No, we're on break for 3 more minutes. Woohoo.
Thank you.
Oh, there are people. Love that. It's always good when you can see faces in our Zoom world. Okay, just a few quick things before we head into our model example. All your feedback should be framed around the 2 questions. What components of the team's vision and action plan do or do not convey a clear message of this is what our vision of STEM is? And the second one, what components of the vision and action plan do or do not actively include stakeholders? We haven't thought about that. That's something we need to consider. If we want systems to change, all of our stakeholders need to be involved in some way. So those are our 2 framing questions. Remember, this will move quickly. It's objective feedback for those framing questions. Your engagement is critical. The participating team and you will only get out of it what you put into it. The tunee or the presenter, once they present, they just sit there silent. This isn't about judgment. Everyone is where they are in this process. So there's no judgment. Nobody's going to be perfect at this point. That's not the point. The point is to say, where are we at? What can we refine to move this product forward to make it even better for our community? That's the point. So we're just moving wherever we are in our journey. We're moving that maybe one step further. We want to really think as a team, the feedback that we get, what does that mean for us? How are we going to use that to help improve our product? And then we want to stay constructive. Don't get defensive. Again, this is just a journey. We're moving forward in our journey. Okay. So no one's, like I say earlier, you haven't just given birth and someone's criticizing your baby. We're not looking at it that way. We're just saying, this is a product. We want to make it the best we can make it. So what can we consider to make it even better? All right. So with that in mind, we're going to do our model. You will want to have assignment 2 up. Every person will want it. You should have already filled out the first part, presenting part. Now you're going to be on this next part, tuning protocol feedback form, because we're going to do the model one. You will be providing warm and cool feedback. So as you're listening and as you're examining their work, you'll be writing your feedback. Please have at least 1 piece of each of those in the boxes, more if possible. The team, so Longview, that has so graciously agreed to be the model, you will want to come down, not to the audience group forum, which no one should be on, but to the presenter form, because you will write down as you hear the warm and cool feedback, write it down. And then now I'm thinking, you'll have a chance to say, now I'm thinking this, or this was insightful. We need to clarify this. Okay, so everyone but Longview is just on assignment 2B. The questions are right here. We'll move along as quickly as we can. They'll have at maximum 8 minutes to present. You'll have at maximum 2 minutes for clarifying questions. Then this examining the work, I'd like to try to get that done in more like 5 minutes so we can move this along quickly. And then you'll provide feedback, and Longview will have a chance to just respond about what they're thinking. Okay, are we clear? All right. And Rebecca, you said that you would be the one that's going to share your screen to present, right?
I am not Rebecca, but she
Oh.
got called out to a meeting, but I do have her computer and I am sharing.
Okay, so tell us
Oh,
your
wait.
name.
She might just be coming back. Are you good?
Yeah, sorry.
All right, hang on.
No wonder I couldn't see Rebecca's face. I was like, she ditched me.
I said I wasn't you.
Got scared.
I thought for sure you ditched me, Rebecca.
Sorry, when the assistant superintendent shows up, you have to go for a minute.
Okay, I'm going to
Share my
stop
screen
sharing.
again.
You're going to share your screen. You have until at the very longest 11:18 to share your context and your vision and your plan.
Okay. Maybe. Okay, can you see that?
Yep.
Okay. So our context is we are a public elementary school, K-6 in Murray School District. We are doing this kind of solo, so it's not like a district initiative in that regard. We hover right around 400 students. We have about 39% students that are free and reduced, and about 29% that are ELL. We are just barely starting down this journey of STEM. Originally, it had come as a request of our community council the last few years. Initially, their thoughts were to do something as an after-school program, but we want to be a little bit more equitable in that and allow all of our students to be able to participate. And we do have about half of our school comes to school on buses, and so we need to make sure that they're able to participate as well and not having that barrier there. Then I'll turn time over to JD.
Okay, so our vision is to build excitement and authentic learning for students at Longview. We will develop a culture of STEM by providing regular STEM learning experiences in our daily instruction, focusing on competency-based learning, providing opportunities to learn through questioning, collaboration, and investigation. And doing this will allow students to justify and validate their knowledge in a variety of ways.
I wish we're still updating.
Yeah.
Okay.
So our action plan is right here. We wanted to start by just doing a day of STEM, because we find that, or we were talking about it when we were originally trying to figure this out. We feel like that there's a lot of teachers who want to do this, but they just don't know how to do it. And the best way to do that is strip the Band-Aid off. So we're just going to make everybody in our school do a STEM day, and then next year kind of have the STEM day be a reoccurring thing. But also for future, we want to do a monthly STEM activity that the whole school can do, so that we can start incorporating more STEM into the daily, and hopefully teachers will pick up that daily STEM vision that we are trying to invoke. As of right now, we were originally going to start doing, or we originally wanted to have a STEM day that took the entire day and incorporating a career day. And that's how we were going to incorporate our stakeholders, is having stakeholders come in and share what they do for their job, how they got there, all of that mixed in with STEM activities. But when we were looking at the calendar, we realized that this is going to be the Friday of Memorial Day. And so the stakeholders kind of got pushed out the window because everybody was very busy, either planning a trip or not being there or whatever. So I think next year we're going to try and incorporate the stakeholders talking about their jobs in addition to everybody in our school doing STEM activities. And this year we're just going to scale it back to every student picking 3 to 4 STEM activities, and then just having the whole school kind of disperse and go to these different rooms to do STEM activities that they're interested in. Some of the STEM activities we try to incorporate everything from science. We have some botany and plant thing, and also some chemical change and things like that. Technology, we are going to have a breakout room and some, what was the other stuff? Technology stuff? I know it was a breakout room. Oh yeah, we have a bunch of different robot stuff. So we're going to do robots with that. For engineering, we were going to do an egg drop, and we were also going to do building boats and stacking cards to build towers. For the art one, we were going to do blackout poetry, tessellation, and then there's another one I can't remember. And then for our math one, we were going to do some, I can't remember, I don't have the list, and math is at the bottom, so I forgot. But there's about 10 different activities that the kids are going to be able to pick from. We sent out a Google form assignment yesterday so that they can choose which one they're going to do. And then we are going to have everybody, we're going to make schedules for all of the students so that all of the students can go to where they are. Realizing that we're going to have anywhere between 1st grade and 6th grade in the same room. So we'll have to make sure that we're accommodating for all of that. But I think that's also going to be beneficial so that we can get a wide variety of ability levels and working together and accomplishing tasks. Is there anything else anybody wants to add?
Okay.
That's it.
Hey, thank you very much. I do have one clarifying question, since that's the point we're at right now. Can you put the link into the chat where they can access the document so that they have a chance to look through it in more depth?
Yep.
Wonderful. Okay, everyone, at this point, I'm going to reshare my screen for just a minute. Okay. This is your chance to ask clarifying questions. Remember, they are yes, no questions. Looking at matters of fact that you need just to help you be able to dig into this. Does anyone have a clarifying question? Let me look at the chat. I am not seeing any clarifying questions. If there are no clarifying questions, then you're going to have, let's take 5 minutes. I think 5 minutes is okay, to look through their presentation, the artifacts that they have, and give warm and cool feedback. So write it in your template so you can share based off of the 2 framing questions. Remember the warm and cool feedback, there are examples of what that will look like. So use these as kind of your guides as you're thinking about, how do I say my warm and cool feedback? Go back to the template under warm and cool feedback. Okay, it is 11:18. So at 11:23, this is quiet time to 11:23. The expectation is that you're providing both warm and cool feedback for our Longview team. All right, the time is yours. We'll have quiet time for the next 5 minutes. Longview, will you please make sure they have your context and vision? Thank you. And will you address Amy's question? I did not see that in the chat. It came in right after.
Yes, am I supposed to address that now, or is that part of feedback that we're waiting on?
Go ahead and address that now because I should have addressed it in the clarifying question. I
Gotcha.
didn't see it.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay, about 30 seconds to have your warm and cool feedback ready to go. Okay, my friends, that's not a lot of time, but hopefully you had a chance to look through some of Longview's documents. We appreciate their willingness to share with everyone. Because there are so many of us, we want them to be able to have a chance to hear more feedback than just a few people. When you're in breakout rooms, you'll just have one team, but since Longview was brave, we'd like them to get more feedback than just a few people. So I have typed in the chat warm feedback. I would like you to take the next 33 seconds to write one piece of warm feedback you have for them in the chat and enter that. And then I'd like 2 or 3 people to be willing to share out loud. So be thinking if you're a share out loud person, or if you can put it in the chat, or, you know, you could do both. Okay, so let's take 33 seconds to write our warm feedback in the chat. Go. Okay, about 10 more seconds. Thank you, everyone. That's given them some good feedback. Remember, and I should have done this as a facilitator, as much as you can, guide your feedback towards our 2 framing questions. How does or does not what they have help meet those 2 framing questions? So we want to keep those framing questions always in mind. Cleve said that he would be willing to share out verbally. Would you mind doing that now, my friend?
Okay, do you want me to remind? Okay, yes, I can. Oh no, that's what we were trying to avoid. I was asking our host whether he wanted to unmute or me. So yeah, I really like the idea of a daily STEM goal, and you know, I think that needs to be in there. However else everything else shakes out, if your teachers are all on board and the kids are seeing something every day that links something in their STEM wise to whatever they're doing, I think that's an amazing goal. And I think that's not only for your vision, but you know, include that in your plan, definitely.
Good point, Cleve. That does seem to help convey a clear message that STEM is important and that their stakeholders are actively involved, because we're seeing it daily. So good point. Would one other person like to share verbally? That would be helpful. It's always good to hear someone speak it out.
Melissa, I'll share. I hope
Thank
this
you,
is kind of
John.
what we're looking at. But as I looked at their action plan, one thing I really appreciated and that I noticed, considering their goal, is that they're really looking for student engagement. For me, and I've shared this a million times, but STEM isn't necessarily about doing things. It's about good teaching practices and really getting kids engaged in learning and those practices. And so when I look at their action plan, you know, I appreciate that they're really focusing on student engagement. I feel like that is a very strong piece of their plan.
Thank you, John. I appreciate you sharing. That really does help convey this message of what STEM is to them. STEM means being engaged. STEM means thinking, being involved. So thank you, John. I appreciate that. And they're also, that validates the fact that students are stakeholders. And so we're using them as stakeholders. So that's wonderful. All right, my friends, now I'm going to give you 32 seconds, 1 second less, because now you're so good at this, to consider some cool feedback. Remember, cool feedback, we want it framed in terms of these 2 questions. So frame it in terms of the questions, and then, well, maybe if I can move it down. Our template, I wonder if you've considered this, because it might help you do this with having a clear statement or something. So, or one way to maybe more closely align with involving our stakeholders could be this, or I'm seeing this is a possible gap. Have you maybe thought about this? So we want to be really thoughtful about how we frame our cool feedback to be supportive and helpful to help them move forward. All right. So thinking about our 2 framing questions, you have 32 seconds to type your thoughts into the chat. So your time starts now. Go. Okay, about 10 more seconds. Okay, can I have 2 people be thinking, I'd like to be, I could share out. This is something I could contribute. That would be helpful. Okay, who would be someone that's willing to share out verbally?
So we were looking at their second goal of supporting the faculty, and we were just wondering what specifically that looks like, what support the teachers will need and get throughout the upcoming years.
Thank you very much for sharing that cool feedback. That might be something that to make their message more clear, they might want to provide some more specific details. Great, thank you. One more person, would you be willing to share some cool feedback? Oh, they put themselves out, people. One of us can help them by providing some feedback. Who's someone who could share?
I could. We did it again.
Thank you.
I like the idea of the students being able to give their own justifications of what they've learned and what they've done, because you're involving them as stakeholders. I'm just wondering what that might look like. How would you prepare a student for that to be accomplished?
Great, thank you, Cleve. I appreciate your willingness to share. Thank you. Okay, now, Longview, you have up to 2 minutes to share. What are you thinking now? And this is when everyone does this. This will be when you are not the audience coming up, but when you're the presenter at the bottom, you'll have, now I'm thinking. So what are you thinking now?
Ultimately, that we do have a few pieces that I think it has been in our head and as we have conversed, but we don't have it physically on paper. Some of those things like what are the supports for teachers moving forward to get them comfortable with things, what resources, if somebody put the comment on there of what materials or resources will teachers be using anyway, and how can that align with some of the STEM activities and those kinds of pieces, which was a great suggestion. So looking at that to more meaningfully just naturally embed that professional development for teachers and the supports that way. Is there something else that you can?
The feedback piece from the students.
Yeah, the feedback piece from the students was an important part. So we did talk about it, so we got to go back and revisit. Yeah.
And then I just think making sure that we have more time to make this better. So like the first time you do anything, it's not great. And so I think like we know that this year's is going to be fine. But yeah, taking the feedback from parents and students and all of that and then implementing it so it's better next year is good to think about.
Thank you, Longview.
Like the message.
Really appreciate you being willing to put yourself out. Thank you, everyone who gave them warm and cool feedback. That is something that will be very useful to them. I hope you're seeing how this can be a judgment-free zone. It's objective feedback, things to think about. You can choose to take the feedback or choose not to. It's up to you. It just is merely what people are thinking in terms of the framing questions. So thank you, thank you. Now you are all going to experience that using assignment 2. You'll be on 2D and 2, nope, 2. It must be, let's see, the presenter group and the audience group. So here we go, 2C and 2D. You're going to be in breakout rooms. So we're going to do, I think that we can do this in about 20 minutes per team. So facilitators, if you'll adjust the time, up to 8 minutes for the presenter, up to 2 minutes for clarifying questions. Then I think 5 minutes to look at the work and get your feedback ready is plenty. 5 minutes to share out, and then 1 minute to 2 minutes for the team to reflect back on what they've heard. So I think we can do it all in 22 minutes each. So that I think let's plan on being leaders of the 3 groups. If you'll send your teams to lunch between around 11:20-ish, okay? I mean, sorry, 12:20-ish, and then we'll come back at 1 from lunch, all right? So that gives you 20-ish minutes for each team, 22-ish minutes. So you'll be on assignment 2C and 2D. The room assignments, hey, I did my room assignment. Woohoo! Way to go, Longview. Yay, jazz hands. Hey, people, I don't see jazz hands for Longview. Yay, jazz hands. Thank you. They were brave. Longview will have you join room 2 with Katie and just be an audience, all right? You'll get to be an audience twice. So room 2, Katie will be the facilitator, the moderator. Room 3, Cami will be, and room 4, Rachel will be. You'll have until 12:20, and then they'll excuse you. We'll come back from lunch at 1 sharp and start right at 1. Okay, does anyone have any questions about what you're doing now? I am not seeing any questions. I'm opening up the rooms. Oh, this is exciting. This is what we've been building up for. Woohoo! Cool. I know you're as happy as I am. Have fun. Oh, yes, I will move to room 4.
Melissa,
Uh-huh.
so 8 minutes per team, correct? That's
8 minutes for them to share. 2 minutes for clarifying. 5 for looking at work, 5 for feedback, and 2 for reflecting.
okay. Awesome.
Thanks, Rach.
Thanks.
Can you see where to move, Rach? Do you want me to move you? Hey,
Melissa,
Brett.
I didn't get an invitation.
That is, it should be open for you to choose, but I can move you.
Oh, okay.
What
That's
room are
okay.
you
I have
going
take
to?
I'm just getting an important call. I have to take that anyways. Sorry.
What room? And I'll move you there, then you'll be there when you're ready.
How about 2?
Perfect. Goes to 3. Hi, Jamie. Do you need help moving or? Oh, I can't hear you. Sorry.
Oh, sorry, I was muted. Yes, sorry, I just had an emergency call. And so where do I need to be?
Okay, let's see. You are with Freedom Prep, right?
Yes,
So I am moving you to room 2.
thank you.
Have fun.
Thanks.
Plans. So thanks for doing that. My room was so good at talking and doing such a great job, and I was so not great at timing. So we are one of the rooms that went a little long, but it was with good reason, and everybody just was great to share. So thanks. So now we are at team time with your team, where you're going to be debriefing. And so with that, let me just pull this over. Sorry, I'm having a bit of a hard time. Okay. For some reason, my Zoom got really small. Okay, so we're now on, you were doing assignment 2. And so as you completed that and captured the warm and cool feedback, you're going to be debriefing with your team to see how you want to take that feedback. And as you process that feedback, what kind of changes you want to make to your action plan, your vision and your action plan, given what you've now heard and processed through that, through the protocol. And so we have, oh, Melissa, is this is a little bit different timing than last time. 30 minutes, I believe. Yes, okay. 30 minutes that you can meet with your group. Administrators, go ahead and facilitate that with your group so that you can capture that feedback that you've received and make any changes now to your vision and action plan. And then make sure you submit assignment number 2 and then resubmit your STEM vision and action plan with the changes you've made after receiving this feedback. So we'll think about some guiding questions as we go into the room, into our breakout rooms. What insights did we gain from the feedback? What changes should we make to our STEM vision based on that feedback? What changes should we make to our action plan based on the feedback? So we'll do the breakout rooms and see you in 30 minutes. There is on the assignment, you'll see the questions within the box, within the table, to go ahead and capture your debrief.
Okay, so we'll be back at 1:40.
Yeah, that'd be great. Thank you.
I am so sorry, but I missed the instruction. Somebody was chatting with me in the hall.
No worries. We're going into breakout rooms to do the debrief with the team. And you'll do assignment 2, where you're going to, as a team, talk about what insights you gained from the feedback, how you would like to change your vision and per the feedback, and your action plan. And then you'll go in and actually do those, make those changes. So you'll submit assignment 2 as well as the changes to your vision and action plan.
So insights I'm going to go to you'll put me in a room, right?
What team are you with? You'll go with your group.
I'm not sure where we were before, because Pam's been using this computer and moving us. We're all watching on one screen, but they're not back from lunch yet. So
What team are you?
Coral Cliffs.
Okay, I will move you to that room.
Okay, thank you so much. And we'll revise our action plan.
Hey friends, does anyone else need help moving to a room?
What we're spending the next 30 minutes doing. So this time is going to be yours. Again, we'll be together for 30 minutes until we have one final section of reflection and updates that we'll finish the day out with, again, related to those action plan and visions. So unless there are any questions, comments, or concerns, ... Pausing, looking at the chat. Seeing none.
What time do you want people back at?
Melissa, like, I'm thinking 1:10.
Perfect.
Does that seem reasonable? Then we'll have a break and then do the last sprint to the end.
Okay, I will open up rooms then, everyone. Enjoy this time to get your implementation plan started.
Hey, Melissa,
Hey, Cami.
they said that there wasn't a link to submit the implementation timeline plan in Canvas, so I went in and updated that. I don't know if anybody else is gonna have.
Oh,
I went in
is
and
it not
fixed it.
showing that?
No, it wasn't, but I went in and made it a URL or a file upload. That looks like what it was for everybody else. But
Thank
if
you.
anybody else has issues, they should just have to refresh now.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you for fixing that. I appreciate that.
Yep. And I think I lost my ability to go to a breakout room.
Well, they're all coming back now, so I think we're good.
That's good timing.
Cami, it's a good thing you're so versed in Canvas.
That was a simple request. I can manage that.
Well, an important one.
Okay, welcome back, everyone. Hopefully, you had some time to start to get some concrete action items in play. And remember, this is the last time that we are all coming together for this school year. There will be some follow-ups next year that we'll send communication out for during the summer. But remember, this is the last time that you'll be meeting. So at the very least, as you work through these action items going forward, make sure that you have a meeting schedule that, as I mentioned before, can kind of set everyone up to be able to share the work that they've done, the action items that they've pursued, and the successes that they have, and the work they will be able to continue to do. So we're going to take a break for 15 minutes. So at 2:25, we would be so appreciative of you being back ready to have some conversations to conclude the day. We have one more section of reflection and then some closing thoughts. So we'll see everyone back here at 2:25.
To put in your assignment for when you're done, that's been updated. Cami found the issue. So if you're looking for that, it's now there.
Melissa, I haven't graded my assignment 4s yet.
I did.
Oh, great. I noticed when I was going in, it said 35 of 35. And I was like, I bet you took care of that.
You were busy. Have a great break, everyone. Okay, friends, about 42 seconds, and then we'll be back. Okay, it's been 43 seconds, so we're back. All right, Nate.
Awesome. Hope everyone had a chance to get up, walk around, maybe feel some sunshine on your face or your hands. Let's push on to the end of our conversations today. So this final moment to collaborate with your team is based on identifying the assets that you have at your disposal in order to carry out the action items that you have identified. And so there may be further conversations surrounding other action items that still need to be discussed. And we hope that you'll take some of this, the next 25 minutes or so to also consider what assets you have at your disposal in order to be able to accomplish those short-term and long-term implementation ideas that you just identified on your 4A sheet. And so assignment 4B in the Canvas course and or linked from the slides will give you a template to be able to identify both the assets that you can that you have at your disposal, as well as the challenges that you might experience in trying to carry out those things. So you have the next 24 minutes now to have that conversation about kind of putting into practice those action items that you had identified. And then we'll come back together for closing. Questions, comments, concerns before we jump back into breakout rooms? All right, Melissa. Have fun.
Hey, Cami.
Hi, Canyons is just reaching a mental wall, like for all of the work. What time are we coming back again?
We're coming back in about 5 minutes.
Okay, 5 minutes. Thank you.
Hey, Nate, I think we are all back.
Great. I think the floor is all yours, Melissa. Let's close it out.
Thank you, everyone. Today has been a rigorous day. Lots of thinking, lots of work to do. Oh, we appreciate your hard efforts today. Hang on. Nope, wrong way. Helps if you know what way you're going. Closing, woohoo! Everyone's ready for that point, I think now, because of all the hard efforts. So just kind of in closing, our learning intentions for the STEM Institute have been to participate in professional learning related to the creation of effective ecosystems, to develop a STEM vision for your context, an action plan for obtaining your vision, and we added another one today to develop an implementation plan to help you with your action plan. So hopefully you've seen that you've met the success criteria today of engaging, refining your vision, refining your action plan, and developing your implementation plan. Please make sure to upload these, submit the documents so that we can go in and finalize out the Canvas course for this year. Just a few notes moving forward. Next year is year 2 of the STEM Institute. It's the implementation year. That's when you follow your implementation plan. You'll be consulting with your consulting coaches as you go along, helping. They'll be an objective partner to help you bounce ideas off of, remove any barriers. Some of these will change because some are retiring, some are moving to different positions. So I will contact them and find out who our consulting coaches will be for next year. And then I'll email your team to let you know this is your consulting coach moving forward. We've really appreciated all the work of our consulting coaches this year, and hopefully they'll be willing to work with you for another month while we finalize what might happen for next year. So thank you, consulting coaches. Can we have jazz hands for the consulting coaches? Woo! They have worked hard. Man, we appreciate them. So next year in the implementation year, we'll just meet 3 times for a half day from 9 to 12. The dates are here. You might want to get them written down. I'll also send it out in a follow-up email so that you have it. Really, we'll be looking at how are you coming in implementing your plan? What are some of your hangups? What have been some assets that have helped you? How can we move you to the next step? So those will be the things that we'll be looking at the beginning of the year, middle of the year, and then celebrate our progress at the end of the year. So that should help you know where we're going for next year. Oh, my computer's struggling today. Okay, so just to finalize everything, will you please take a few minutes to go in and add your feedback for today into the Qualtrics? Very helpful data to help us when we're looking at getting the budget ready for next year to see, was this useful to you? Will this help change your system? Those things will help us determine our budget. So your feedback is really needed. I really appreciate everything you've done. Please thank Nate Ock and Katie Hill and Rachel College for all their hard work. Woo! So great people, lots of people involved between our design team and the consulting coaches. And all of you participants, thank you. Oh, you're hardworking. Appreciate you. Have a wonderful day. Fill out the survey and you might have 5 minutes of your life back. Woohoo!
But if I can take one of those minutes, and if we can also do one final nonverbal communication for the mastermind of this entire experience, one Melissa Mendenhall. Without her, none of this would have been possible. Huge thanks to Melissa.
Thanks, Nate. Some of her are probably going, yeah, could she not have done that? That might have been better. Thank you, everyone. We appreciate you. Happy end of the school year and happy implementing. Bye, Kim. Bye, Sarah. It was good to see you. Hey, Nate, thanks for all your help today. You did a ton.
Always a pleasure with you and this whole community.
I am unsure if I'm going to make it to the after party. I
Yeah,
got
good.
14 changes back on my IRB. It might take a while.
I totally get it. We'll be doing it again. So yeah,
good.
it's just as available. So
Oh, it sounds fun.
totally.
But if I'm not there, I'm still working on IRB.
Okay, good luck.
Thank you.
Yeah.